Welcome to day one of the Know Your Worth Challenge. I'm so excited. As you can tell, we only run this challenge twice a year, and so the team and I are really pumped. Feel free to leave your cameras on if you want. If you've got kids, dogs, birds, friends joining us, they are welcome. This is PG content. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Nice to see everyone. Because this is the first day, I would love it if you could just pop in the chat and let me know where you are joining us from today. I am an Aussie, hence my funny accent, but I do live in downtown New York City now. So shout out to anyone else who is enjoying this unseasonably warm winter's day in Manhattan. It's so awesome to see you. Now, we've got a couple of thousand people going through the challenge today. This week, I should say, the 5 days from all around the world. So I can even see there's a global flavor in the chat. Hello, and thank you to our European friends. I know it's late for you and it's early for everyone in Asia, so thank you. So listen, let's jump into it. The whole purpose of the 5-day challenge is that we're going to send you a challenge every day for 5 days. And the challenge hopefully will take you 5 minutes or less. Hopefully today's challenge took you a little less than 5 minutes. We're going to run this live coaching call for you every day as well. We'll keep it to 5 minutes. If you have more questions, we can for sure go longer. But that's kind of the intention of the challenge. So I would love to hear from anyone who has already completed today's challenge, which is the Goosebumps question. So I've actually got a list here. I've already heard from a bunch of people: Jen, Emma, Bryony, Rian, Lucia, Ty, Luana, hello, who have already done the challenge. So today's challenge is all about stretching our muscle to focus on the successes that we have, right? So when it comes to knowing our worth, often, and hands up or emoji on screen if this is you, like if you have a bad day at work, you kind of spiral, right? And you focus on those negatives, or the spelling mistake, or the sale you didn't get, or, I don't know, just the mistakes that we make, right? And our brain has a funny way of spiraling. When something goes wrong, we kind of grasp onto it and we can kind of go like this. So the purpose of today's challenge, the Goosebumps question, is to start to get our brain to focus on the positive things, the successes that we've had, right? The things that our friends and colleagues and family really love about us, that they love and respect about us. Because it's one of those things, right? Like often we graduate school or, we start on a career path and we don't always take time to stop and think like, what do I love about my work? What am I great at doing? What do people really give me praise for and kudos for? Because maybe those are some of the things that you should be focusing on, right? And so that's the purpose of today's challenge. If you haven't already done it, what I'm going to get you to do is grab out your cell phone. We can do it now as a group. And I just want you to text a friend. It's really simple. It's a phone a friend exercise. Text someone who likes you and respects you. And you're just going to say, hey, I'm doing this career challenge. And I just wanted to ask you a question. What do you reckon is my best quality? What would you say is the most interesting professional quality that I bring to the table? That's all you're going to ask. So you can text, you can WhatsApp, email, whatever you want to do, right? Just send that text. That's all you have to do today. And we've had some responses coming through already from people. If you've already sent that message, by all means, let me know in the chat. I can see a couple of familiar faces who've already emailed me to say that they have already sent that text and actually received a response. So the way that our brain works, and this is the whole point of the 5-day challenge, we worked with our behavioral psychologist to build these little itty building blocks that we're going to work throughout the week, right? So the concept is that in less than 5 minutes, we're going to do one exercise a day together, so that over the course of the week, we will have done 5 interesting things to help support and strengthen our brain to know its worth. Because that's kind of the boring part. Before we can ask for our worth and negotiate for more cash and for a promotion, we kind of have to believe it, right? So we got to start back here, build up those building blocks. And then we know from the success that we've had with the 60,000 women in the PepTalkHer community that you will then be able to use those skills to negotiate for what you're worth in market. So we'll talk more about that over the next couple of days. But if you've got specific questions, pop them in the chat so that I can get to them for you. And I always say to people at PepTalkHer, oh, stop, this is cool. Lisa put it as a question on their IG stories. Ooh, That is very extra. I've never done that, Lisa, but I'm here for it. So maybe we'll give an extra point to anyone who shares it on their IG stories. Tag me and I'll make sure that we share it as well. Because, we love a bit of competition at PepTalkHer. So throughout the 5-day challenge, you are going to be getting points, which is kind of cool. So you get points for showing up live today. So my amazing team are keeping track of attendance. You get points for emailing us through your results of the challenge or posting them in the Facebook group as well, right? So you'll be getting points throughout. And then we have 2 special prizes for the winners. We have a scholarship to our flagship 8-week live coaching program, which is called the Career Level Up. And then we also have a scholarship to the Salary SOS program as well. So keep an eye out for those opportunities to earn those points. And Lisa, I reckon that's a really great idea for some bonus points today if you share on your stories. So this is really cool. Yeah, and Ty, thank you for sending me through your results as well. The text that you sent to your former manager and the responses that come through. So, when you send a text to someone who does love and respect and support you, and hopefully they write back something kind or nice or favorable, it starts to strengthen that part of our brain, right? So I kind of think of our brain as a muscle. And it's like, if I wanted to go to the gym and get massive biceps, nothing would happen after a day. Nothing's really going to happen after 2 days. I'm going to use my candle as my weight. But if I did it every day for like 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, all of a sudden I'd basically have bigger muscles than Arnold Schwarzenegger. Right? And so it's kind of the same thing with the way that you treat your brain. Your brain is a muscle. And so what we're going to do this week is strengthen it so that it's really strong, so that it does understand how awesome you are. And so that it does understand the value that you're bringing to the table in your family, in your friendship group, and certainly in the professional workspace as well. That's what we're going to be focusing on this week. And that's why this phone a friend Goosebumps question text is so valuable, because sometimes we don't know what people around us respect and love about us. So to get that validation, it's kind of nice, right? And I had a couple of dozen emails this morning of people who were talking about the warm and fuzzy feeling that they got because of those really kind messages that they were getting through. So keep the results coming. Let me know. Someone was saying that they actually felt quite overwhelmed by the response, and that's pretty normal, right? But the more that you send texts like this, and the more that we start to collate those results and really focus on them, slowly but surely, we're going to build that muscle of our brain, right? Because I want your brain to be stronger than Arnold Schwarzenegger's muscles, right? So that's what we're going to be focusing on. If you have specific questions, you can let me know in the chat. But that's all I want you to do today, is send that one text. That's all you have to do. If you've got the text and you've sent it and you've had a response, or you've had a response on email, you can screenshot it and you can add it to the PepTalkHer app, which will collate your successes for you. Or you can make it your screensaver if you want to be a little bit extra. You can print it out and stick it in your office. We've had people in the challenge before who've done that as well, because we do want you to keep it front of mind this week. And anytime that you're spiraling, or anytime you have a bad interaction with one of those toxic colleagues possibly, or whatever, I want you to focus on this, right? And this is a really great point. If you don't have any colleagues, maybe you work for yourself, maybe you're not working right now, you can text a friend, you can text your cousin, you can text your dad, you can text, I don't know, whoever you want. You can text your BFF, doesn't matter, a former colleague, right? You can also use this, if you want, as an excuse to reach out to someone who you've not connected with for a while, right? You can use this as an opportunity. If you want to text more than one person, that's okay too. Because sometimes people say, oh, I could text my bestie, but they love me anyway. So do that, text the bestie, and then maybe also text like a colleague at work who you really like, or a former colleague who you kind of maybe haven't spoken to since COVID. And maybe this is a great excuse to reach out as well. Okay, so anyone who's just joining, welcome, welcome, welcome. So today we are sending one text, and that's it. And all the text has to say is hello. You can WhatsApp it or DM, whatever. Hello, I'm doing a career challenge. I have to ask someone who I trust and respect a question. And the question is, what is the one thing that you most admire about me? That's all the text has to say. What is the one thing that you most admire about me? So for everyone who's just joining, that is the text that we are sending today. So bear with me. I promise you that at the end of the 5 days, it will all make sense as to how this ladders up to getting a pay raise and to getting a promotion. And one of the things that we'll talk more about this week is that people pay the price that you put on yourself, right? And so what we're going to start to do is for you to really appreciate the price that you should be putting on yourself, right? And for you to do that, I need you to genuinely believe the value that you're bringing to the workplace. And that's really challenging for a lot of us. And if that's challenging for you, feel free to share in the chat, because, you know, you may have had really toxic colleagues. You may be going through a bad experience. You may be unemployed right now. You might be really wishing you could get that next step and you just don't know how to kind of jump to that next rung. You might be in the public service and kind of feel like you're stuck because there's not a lot of room to move with the salary. So what else can you do? Right? So we're going to talk about that a little bit further. There is a bunch of the PepTalkHer concierges who are on the call today. If you haven't already, jump into the private Facebook group. If you don't have Facebook, that's fine. If you do, I really recommend you join it because it's a great opportunity to network with the several thousand people doing the challenge as well. So my team's going to put a link to the Facebook group in the chat for you. Keep an eye out on your other messages on Facebook, you know, like message requests, because they'll be DMing you a workbook this week as well that you can use to follow along with during the challenge. If you don't have Facebook and you want us to send you the workbook, no problem. Just pop your email in a DM to me below and I'll make sure that we get that across to you. So we're here to answer any questions that you have or to support you with your specific circumstance that you're going through right now in your career. So let me know if there's any questions that you want me to answer, and I will get to as many of those as I can. But yeah, quick recap. We are sending one text to someone this week, today, I should say, and we're going to get a response and we're going to screenshot that response and we're going to focus on that this week whenever we find ourselves having like a spiral or a negative moment. Reinforcing to our brain and to ourselves, frankly, the value that we have is very, very powerful when we end up in the negotiating room with colleagues or recruiters or future bosses and stuff like that. So we're fortifying your inner muscle in terms of how much you know and appreciate and value yourself. And then we're going to pay that forward into how do we apply that to the salary situation as well. Thank you, everyone. I've got a lot of private messages for the workbook. Yes, yes, yes. I will be sending them all through. Kim and Declan, can I get you to pop the Facebook group link into the chat, please, so that people who haven't already joined can jump on in. If you've got specific questions, let me know in the chat and I will get to those for you. Otherwise, we want to be respectful of your time and we try and keep this super snappy and we do try and keep it to the 5 minutes. But there we go. So there's the group in the chat there. You can join up. If you've got questions, let us know. Make sure you post your responses. You can make them anonymous or you can share them openly in the Facebook group so that we can give you kudos and cheer you on as well as we're going through the challenge. I'm so excited. And for those of you who I haven't met, I probably should have better introduced myself. My name is Meggie Palmer and I founded the company PepTalkHer because the gender pay gap really, really annoys me. I had my own experience of pay inequality, which I can talk you through later this week. But it's my mission and my team's mission to support you to supercharge your career. That's what we want for you. We want you to love the work that you do. We want you to get paid the worth that you deserve and that you should be paid in market. And we want you to have a really great time and to feel supported because it can be lonely, you know, when you start your career, especially as you start to get more and more successful. So that's what we do is we support professional women to achieve amazing things in their career. In the past, we've had people getting 5, 10K raises, pretty standard, but we've had a lot of 20, 30 plus pay raises as well. The highest raise we've ever had is $103,000. So I'll talk you through her story later in the week as well. There's a great question that's come through. How can you work through the situation at work when you feel like you're overlooked by your supervisor? This is a really good question. So this is a great place to start because the purpose of sending this text today is to start to understand how do others perceive you? I might perceive myself as a very organized person, but when I send this text, maybe everyone comes back to me and says, I'm very motivating, I'm very team oriented. So when you start to hear patterns through the feedback that you get from people who love and respect you, it's helpful because we can then use that language in our performance reviews and our one-on-ones with our bosses so that they hear reflected to them probably what they're thinking about you and your performance as well. And so thank you to the person who sent that question through. We talk more about this in the Career Level Up program, actually. Specifically, we talk about the concept of the FYI only email, which is a process that we encourage all of our students to go through so that they are always front of mind for their boss, right? And I always talk about this concept of like, if you've worked really hard and you've done amazing work, but if your boss doesn't know about it, like, did it even happen? Like, obviously it did happen. But if no one knows about it and if you're not getting the kudos, I really question the value of you kind of putting your blood, sweat, and tears into that if you're not getting the credit and the respect that, frankly, you deserve as a result of that. So we talk more about how you can kind of do that in a way that feels really authentic and genuine to you and your personality, because it has to feel right. And, we're not in the business of making anyone behave differently, right? Like, you should be able to be you in the workforce and you should be able to get great results regardless. Unfortunately, we know that bias and discrimination is a thing. And I reckon probably quite a lot of you have experienced it. I certainly have. So we do talk through that more specifically as well. It's specifically about the research that backs up how actually slight shifts that we can just be aware of will help us get the results that we're looking for. All right, so if you are not on Facebook, pop your email below. I will get the workbook over to you. If you are on Facebook, keep an eye out. You'll be getting a DM from our concierges today, sending you that workbook through. And this is going to be so much fun. Okay, so we've got a question here. Yeah, no worries. Okay, I will get that workbook over to you. If you've got any questions, hit reply to the challenge emails. I read every single one of them. Kim and I are in the inbox all day, every day. So we will come right back to you if you've got any questions. But we're really excited to support you for the next 5 days and can't wait to see the results that we are going to get together. So I want to be respectful of your time, but we will be back the same time tomorrow. I will send you a replay of today's session. If you attend the sessions live, you get extra bonus points so that you can get that a little bit closer towards our prize pool, which I'm excited about. And yeah, I'll look forward to seeing you all in a little under 24 hours, and keep me posted on how your texts go. Hot tip, don't text your brother. I've done that before and he just texted back something ridiculous like, oh yeah, like, he didn't take it seriously. So text someone who takes it seriously, not like my brother Matthew, bless him. So yeah, let me know how you go, and can't wait to see everyone tomorrow and excited to hear all of your successes. Yes, Elsa, my brother does tease me. I love him, but maybe not the best to text your brother for this exercise. Maybe a mentor or your best friend, something like that. Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.